to the summer edition of Wanderful, a somewhat D&D podcast. This is a special Tavern Talks episode. I got all three boys here with me. We're gonna be chatting Kyle's new game, but first things first. I'm your typical DM and host, Tyler DeSoto, and I'm joined by my three good boys, Kyle, Matt, and Jeremy. Say hello, my good boys, Kyle, Matt, and Jeremy.
Hi.
Hello. What up?
Cocaine really has a bad rap, I think.
You know, I hear
let's get right into it.
I hear there's a lot of health benefits, a lot of medical benefits. Yeah.
Man, y'all remember when Coke had it?
Yeah, Coke had Coke.
Let's just cut caffeine off at the teat.
Listen.
And just go straight to cocaine. We can take a lot less of it. Generally, it'll have health benefits.
I just think, I think there's a strong argument to be made. Like, if you're living twice as fast, it's okay for your life to be half as long. You're just speed running existence.
Yeah, that's a good
Live
point.
fast, die faster.
I hear that.
Point.
I hear you can almost always expect to have diarrhea when you do cocaine, which is exciting.
What if I always have diarrhea already?
Live fast, shit fast, you know?
Anyway, Kyle, since you're the DM of this really fun game that we just got to play, and our listeners have already gotten to listen to the first two episodes of the Building the Underground series, why don't you just get us started? Just get us started.
You guys heard the whole us making the biscuits, us in the back cooking up a nice stew for you, a nice delicious underground world stew. And now the story we're going to be playing is going to be transitioning over into a regular old D&D, but within the world we've created. Oh my god. And
gone are the days of Faerun.
I don't know if
gone
this
are
was
the days of Yonder.
Exactly. Now
Fuck
we're in
those pieces of bullshit.
No, they're not bullshit. They're all within the same sort of universe is what I think it's like a multiverse.
Do they
thing.
take place underground?
Listen,
Do they take place underground?
Listen, that's not the bit, right? But I think like, hey, listen, you just saw Dr. Weird. If you're in the know about the Marvel films, you've watched the new Doctor. I've
not seen it. Don't spoil.
I'm not spoiling. No, I didn't see it either because I don't care about
Strange
Marvel. But my
probably.
point is, you saw Dr. Weird do his thing. You saw the Spider Lad and him do another thing where there's multiple universe situations.
We saw Everything Everywhere All at Once, and
Yeah,
it was one of the best movies I've ever seen.
I hear that all the time. That's also on my list, more so than any of these Marvel films I'm talking about. But the point is, right? This is all within. It's like bubbles next to each other in a big old bubble bath. It's like they're not the same bubble. But hey, if you pop one, it might fuse into the other one if you push it a little bit.
Yeah, I just want to know what's going on with the giant cosmic baby in this bubble bath.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a cosmic baby that's making bubbles, and all of our lives are in
it. That is the through line.
Exactly. Snoop Dogg's having a nice hot bubble bath. He's blowing fat O's at all these universes and letting stories unfold as we fucking see it. And so we're stepping back out of the bubble that is Wander. We're stepping back out of the bubble that is Faerun, and we're going into a new bubble that is Celaterra, or at the very least, Celaterra at its worst. That's the name of the land overall, but the place we're in is Remembrance and the underground and the never-ending darkness. You heard all these things, right? But this is 10 years after the events of us building this world. Is where we're going to be taking place. We've got characters abound. We've got stuff like, I guess I could spoil this without spoiling this. There's going to be a guild system. Are you excited about that? So I don't have to have you go talk to random people to get missions. You're going to be a part of a house that posts missions. You know,
I love that.
There's intrigue. There's like some red herrings around that we talked about in the fucking thing that are like, you think that person might be a through line to bad guy town? No, sir. They're actually quite nice. Or maybe they're too nice and maybe they're a fucking bad guy in disguise. You never know. What happened to Boogie? Why did that Lich Dragon have a yellow thing in its neck? All these questions and more are going to be answered as we continue to build out the world, because like the world building stopped in the world building episode, yes, but these characters are going to be informing and building out the history and the lore and the people of the world, the very thing that makes the world alive. So
definitely,
I'm super excited.
So I have a question, actually.
Yes.
For you. So was the fact that we kind of ended up with like 2 built-in guilds based on the lore, was that what made you want to do the guild system?
You kind of know 2 of them, right? We got the Farmers Guild with old boy Patrick Stump. That's a Farmers Guild. And we've got the House of Remembrance, which or not the House of Remembrance, the Temple of Redemption. And
Yes.
they're not necessarily set up as a guild, so I can kind of talk about this a little bit because I've written a lot of this stuff out.
I was also counting the Restuary as a guild.
Oh, I didn't even. So there's 5 guilds then. I had 4 guilds, but now there's a 5th guild. So there's the people of Restuary who are like the archaeologist types. There's.
Well, I mean, they don't have to be a guild. It just like kind of felt like very guild structure, I assumed.
Yeah, it's because like not all guilds operate the same, but they kind of have the same sort of like thing, right?
It's
like you can
like,
do missions through these hubs, but they're not all about the same thing. So a spoiler, you remember the orc from our party episode?
Yes.
I've given him a name. His name is Shawn Michaels, and he runs a guild.
Yes, I love that so much.
Exactly.
Of course.
Shawn Michaels
Very
runs
good.
a guild that's all about protecting remembrance, fighting off monsters,
Keeping
having
your smile.
friendships, and being strong. That's it. It's basically a CrossFit with Monster Hunter vibes.
So is I think this is something I don't know if was unclear or I'm just stupid and I missed it. What is the town called now? Is it Remembrance or is it Redemption?
We're calling
It's
that the
Redemption.
main town. What is it?
Well, that's
I
what
thought it was Redemption.
Well, I thought
Redemption,
we
I
changed
think
it, but then,
Redemption
like,
changed to something else, correct?
I thought it got changed to Remembrance after Redemption.
Remember?
No,
No, Redemption. Remembrance was first.
Oh, all right. So, see, now this is good to iron things out. I guess the town's Redemption.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was Remembrance first, if you remember, because that was the name of the monument.
If you're playing the
specifically.
drinking game along at home, see how many times you can drink a shot if we say the word remember, remembrance, remembering.
Yeah, we definitely need to come up with acronyms for some of these places.
I've shortened the Never Ending Darkness to NED. That's like canon
Love it.
in my world.
I love
Into
that.
the Ned.
So anybody talking about the whole of the place, they're talking about NED.
If you're going to the main church building, you're going to Tor, Temple of Redemption.
Yeah.
Because I feel like going to Hor would not work out well. That's
No.
not going to translate.
I think that there's probably also some people in Redemption who still call it Remembrance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's not
but
so much
Probably
of like...
people who aren't a part of the church are like, fuck you. You can't
fair.
just change the name of
Yeah,
our
this
town.
is remembrance.
dickhead.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing too. Like you have the church doing their thing. You've got the farm who's now started a guild of like botanists and pharmacists that are like studying things, but also going beyond just studying the plants. Sorry, dropped my phone. Gonna throw that away. They're like doing some extra sciencey, arcane stuff that's like maybe not what everybody's gelling with. Just because these guilds form doesn't mean everybody's gonna fall into them. But I can tell you about the final guild, which is probably going to be the guild I'm kind of leaning towards you guys joining, which is the House of Shrubbery. It is a guild run by the elder of the village. Her name's Milduda. She's a sweet old
Say again?
Milduda.
Milduda?
Yeah, Lady Milduda. She's a.
Did you
old-
come up with that name whilst
better-
eating a tasty box of Milk Duds?
No. We were
No,
talking about a
mildew.
mildew
She's a
smell,
druid.
and it was like, man,
She's gotta be a
Milduda is a
druid.
funny name. Yeah,
There's probably tons of mildew
Because
in
she's
NED.
she's a druid, but her whole
Knew it.
guild's vibe is like you're carving out your own destiny. Who am I to tell you any tenets or like rules to follow or anything like that? It's like come do missions because that's something you want to do and help your fellow man because that's like something you're interested in. But also,
I think
live
I
your
like
experience.
that.
You know,
I think I like that because I think like Lil Crumb specifically would resonate with that.
I'm
Exactly.
assuming you would be able to be a member of multiple guilds. Like there
So
might be
that's the
some
thing,
guilds
like-
that are like you can't.
So
be a
the way
member
I'm
of-
setting it up, I'm so glad we're kind of ironing this out too. Like just because you are a part of one guild doesn't mean you can't go accept missions from a guild when you're in that town, right? So like if you're in Remembrance, there's maybe like 4 guilds in or Redemption. You're in there's 4 guilds within the main hub of Redemption, and then there's 2 lower level guilds that are like in the other areas. They're not as like those cities aren't as built out as like Redemption really is, especially with the crystal. We said there was like a technological boom in their area just because it's through the whole of the never ending darkness because they share the technologies doesn't mean that this city that is directly affected by all the change and things that are going on isn't going to be this is the talk of the town. This is the place where people can feel safe. Like there's not a lot of monster shit happening. Crime is like, it's going to happen in a city, sure, but like, you know, it's as much as like any other city, you know, like it's like they have things to do there. Like this is sort of like, think New York, think Los Angeles. Like there's some parts of those places you don't want to go. There's some parts of those places that are totally fine in tourist traps though, you know, like, and so I'm thinking like, this is like the hub. This is where the elevator was built that we talked about as well, which is like a big through line to getting to the levels without having to walk through the wilds. Like adventurers are going to be the ones doing that. Whereas like this thing is sort of like a public transport, you know, it's moving to and from and whatever. There's no sort of the guilds are sort of like the governmental bodies. So it's not like there's like laws or anything particular that's like too draconian or weird or anything like that. It's just like there's eyes watching you, and a team is going to come after you if you're doing some heinous shit, you know, like.
I will say I'm not sure how much, because I think we're just kind of pre-gaming and early stuff.
I'm giving stuff away that I couldn't possibly fit into trying to describe things and tell a story, you know, like I'm not going to sit and be like, and this guild for 30 hours and give you like a full detailed thing.
Yeah. This isn't a Tolkien book. We don't have 16 chapters to explain the history of hobbits and how they're all related to each other.
I have all this stuff sort of written out like blueprinty, but it's not like enough. Like once it's all done and we have the story told, if y'all want this as the public, I'll post the stuff wherever so you can play in our world. Like absolutely. Like I have no
nonsense. Like
I have no problem with you guys looking into that stuff. And I'm going to be honest, none of it's great. You know, it's like I'm a guy. I'm not like somebody working for Wizards of the Coast
I'm just a guy.
Like, but I'm not working for Wizards of the Coast. I'm not like writing specialty shit.
Nobody's trying to claim that any of us are breaking new ground or like setting new records or anything.
You
like
know the funniest shit?
Trying to have a good time.
After us building out this world that we totally built out originally on our own, I have seen nothing but fantasy media and things talking about underground societies and like this kind of like whole plot that kind of, and it's not like, it doesn't deter me from telling the story we want to tell, because like whatever, but like it's so funny that like I don't know.
I mean, every story's been told to an extent.
I mean, my guy is definitely he's going to be starting as a member of the Restuary. Whether or not he like ends up there, like he's definitely going to be starting as a guild member. Because I'm assuming with Restuary, like if you're not a guild member, you don't live in the town. Like I kind of assumed the whole town was the guild.
So the way I'm building it out, I can kind of spoil this a little bit. The entirety of Restuary is a giant museum.
Dude, that's
like
so
the
good.
city is like built within this huge like Colosseum-esque like large museum, and there's like built-in mine shafts inside of there that they go down into deeper levels to do mining, and they can bring it right back into the museum where they have like places to clean things up, study things, and set things up and everything. But think you're literally taking a museum tour when you go through Restuary. Like
I like it. That's cool.
It's built into the literal bones of the Never-Ending Darkness. Like it's like like built into the wall. Like it's a part of the Never-Ending Darkness now. And they did that to sort of have a safe space to store this history that they're sort of discovering that isn't like the new history being written.
Well, on that note, why don't we go ahead and get into our characters, starting with Jeremy. Since,
I need those names again too, because like I'll be honest, I got Boognatius and that's it.
Jeremy, you go first.
I got my character's name remembered. I'm not pulling up my information. Kornoth Stoneater.
You're gonna have to type it or spell it.
Kornoth.
Kornoth. Of course.
I'm not sure how far we want to get into it. He's last
like,
tribe.
Just give us some backstory. Give us a race. Give us like you don't have to get all the way into backstory, but like just like a little bit of what they're all about.
Last of his mountain tribe of Goliaths on a quest to restore his ancestral gauntlets. A gem was stolen by the human government before everything happened when he was a little boy, so he's on a quest to kind of restore that and
recover the Infinity Stones. I get it.
It's just one gem. Well, I guess one per gauntlet, so 2 gems.
The gem was like a part of that gauntlet that you had that had like ancestral knowledge of like what it was used for and things like that.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Like, was that like something that was passed down in your tribe for a long time?
Yeah.
So
the gauntlets themselves,
But the gemstone itself powered the gauntlets, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the gauntlets and the gems were like sacred. And so like, I don't even think anyone in the tribe even thought of taking the gem out, because that would just be so sacrosanct to do so. I don't even think people would think to do
and like
that.
They don't necessarily like, they used it for mining and things like that, I remember you saying, but they don't know exactly what it was for. That's just what they used it for.
So like basically it was passed down for generations. They were like very tribal mining, so they don't have like a perfect written history. Like their schools weren't really a thing. You were born and you were either like a gatherer who would get food and stuff, or you were a miner who was mining, and I was just kind of dependent on your whatever. Like, you were just however you could contribute to the tribe. So there wasn't really like, I mean, the elders were the closest thing to historians. But as you can imagine, like, you didn't get terribly old in this kind of tribe because it's hard work up in mountains where like other races
literally
can't
mining.
survive.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, because a Goliath can just exist in a blizzard and like be fine. Like,
or like a
and so,
sandstorm.
like, yeah. Well, specifically, they have they're very resilient to cold and like high altitude. So basically, like low oxygen. So like, imagine like I was kind of assuming that like his tribe was literally like
Himalayan-y.
Yeah, like Himalayan top of the mountain, and there was just
snowman. There
was just some kind of like element or whatever in the mountain that was extremely valuable to all the other races. So literally, that was the tribe's like the only kind of interaction it had with the outside world was trading that material for like things like food and stuff, because obviously up there in the mountains, like food isn't going to be super plentiful. Like they still had gatherers and stuff, but like they wouldn't be able to gather enough up there to like sustain their tribe.
Right.
So like trade was a big part of it.
So what's sort of like beyond just getting the thing back for the sake of having this piece of your family? Like what's your character's like motivation, I guess? What do you?
So, honestly,
because you said he was, I know his class is a wizard. So he's not necessarily like the other Goliaths. He's not like other Goliaths.
I'm going in with his mindset being basically he wants to restore his tribe, but he also like recognizes that their unwillingness to evolve and grow is what was their ultimate like demise. And so that's why he became a wizard, because he was like, I need to understand. We were using a gauntlet for countless generations, and we don't know the origin. We don't know why we have it. We don't know how like it was made. Like we knew nothing about it. We didn't know that the gems could even be removed. Basically, he's kind of just become a researcher's like, that's kind of why he ended up at the Restuary, because it was the perfect environment for like, he wants to maintain that strength and like he wants to maintain that like tough mentality of his tribe, especially,
but also moving forward.
Yes,
like,
he also is like, we did not value wisdom enough, and so I am going to try to learn as much as I can, and I need to understand these magical items and stuff because that was their downfall, is that they refused to advance. Because like that just wasn't their ways. I do think to some degree he wants to restore his tribe,
right?
But I don't think he actually expects to.
Right.
He's mostly just trying to kind of, I don't know if redeem his tribe is the right word, but like kind of avenge
but
them,
that
like,
kind of fits in a way, like not necessarily redeem, but I get the idea of like trying to move them out of the darkness, you know, sort of like get them to come towards the way of progress in a way that works for them. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
Next,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to Matthew.
Hey, that's me.
Give us a little taste, a little name.
Yeah. So
I don't want to say any more about your character, Jeremy, just because like I have some story
you're
beats
good.
already written out and a full thing. Like you're good. Like I didn't want you to think I was like skipping over you because I was like, okay, that was too much. But it's like,
no, I was like, I can keep going. There's a whole tattoo thing, but
Okay, Matt, give it to us.
So I'm playing a Jim Dragonborn. His name is Eldrick, no last name. And if you remember from the last episode, he was kind of a part of the Underwood with a couple of other Dragonborns. I think because we've skipped ahead about 10 years since this, so I think he has kind of assimilated with the society and is more than likely part of one of the guilds, I would assume. What was the name of the guild?
Well, we're skipping 10 years after the world building. Those little scenes that we set up were after the
10-year marker. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So like,
Yeah,
if you're
okay,
still in the
gotcha.
woods, you'd still be in the woods. But maybe if you're interested in a
But
guild,
maybe you're just like hanging out in the woods.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you heard about these things. Or
Yeah. So essentially, he was kind of with two other Dragonborn. the main reason I would say that he's, kind of out in the woods by himself, he's kind of got sent there from his tribe. On the upper levels, because
hold on, I'm a little confused. Whenever we did the one thing, you described him as like hanging out with other Dragonborn around a fire in the woods.
Correct.
So he's not alone in the woods.
Well, like alone with the other Dragonborns.
Okay, that's not what alone means, but continue.
It's you, stickler.
They sent that little group out.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
He is having
Tyler's character is
a really nice
alone.
time with two other Dragonborns, and it is just them two.
Alone
but
together.
essentially, just a little backstory. So, Eldrick was essentially like the tribe hero. So, he's kind of who everybody looked up to. All the kids wanted to be him. The elders really respected him. But he just kind of vanished. Like, he just kind of left. Like, and we don't really know why. Obviously, that'll come to light at a later point.
I know we had spoken a little bit about how, like, some sort of, like without getting into much of the weeds of it, but like the politics of some things going on with the tribe didn't necessarily sit right with your guy and where his mind was kind of headed. Not so much that like there was a conflict or anything. It's just like, I don't think I'm fitting in here in the way that I should be, or this isn't my scene anymore.
So essentially, like, he just kind of vanished. Like, there was no conflict. There was no, like, nothing. Like, he just, like, kind of up and left, and nobody really knows where he was, where he is. So they're kind of like stuck in, not stuck, but they're kind of on their own essentially. Yeah. So he kind of found shelter in the underwood and met those other two Dragonborn. The other two Dragonborn that he's with, they're a little more elderly, so they're kind of on their last legs. He's just been kind of taking care of them for a little while. And kind of just talking with them and, just getting to know who they are and why they're there. Because I don't think he was expecting. Yeah.
So these people were there when he got to where he
Correct.
Okay.
So these Dragonborn.
So they weren't sent off together.
Correct. No. Yeah. So
he was sent off on his own then. Fuck you, Jeremy.
It's not my fault. He used bad words.
No, he was alone.
He used the right words. You misinterpreted those words, bitch.
By establishing what we just said, he didn't know them. He met them when he got there. He was alone.
Eat shit.
Huff his butt.
We don't have to shit on Jeremy.
It's fine. It's fine.
Matt, what's your class? Did you say?
So I am actually going to be playing a barbarian.
That's right. That's fun.
So I have a barbarian class character. First time playing a barbarian, so I'm really excited for just a natural hack and slash. I am playing a crystal dragonborn. So with the crystal dragonborn, I guess they use more radiant energy in their breath attacks. So
that's cool.
Science, bitch.
All of the lights, all of the lights.
Just out of curiosity, what subclass did you pick? There's only one wrong answer.
Oof.
No pressure.
Oof. What did I pick again? I totally forgot.
The Totem Warrior.
The Totem Warrior, yeah.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
That one's fun.
What's the wrong answer?
There's one, I can't remember what it's called. There's one barbarian subclass where like you get exhaustion after every time, and all it gives you when you rage is like an extra action. Which extra action's nice, but exhaustion like
I was about to say, by that logic, you could just be a fighter.
Yeah.
A really strong fighter.
Yeah, for real.
It's like basically the subclass that everyone is like, if you pick this, you are wrong.
Oh god. I'm glad I didn't pick that one.
All the other ones are totally fine. Like, because some of them are like in like the Tempest, you shoot lightning out of your chest.
Yes, you're a fucking storm barbarian. You're basically Thor.
Basically, all the barbarian classes are cool. Like the totem class is really cool.
Yes, I like that too, because it kind of fit with like the vibe of like, I don't think Matt's tribe is necessarily not knowing about anything or technology or magic or anything like that, but I feel like they're definitely traditionalists, because they are also, we kind of established one of the races that were living here before the surface people got here. So they were kind of in tandem with nature and doing their own thing, and we'll kind of learn more as we go on. But I really like, for story elements, the fitting of the totem barbarian.
I'll have a small spoiler. So as far as like the totem warrior, he essentially found something in the forest that caused that, I guess you could say.
Really?
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's something in the forest that kind of connects those two things together.
I'd like to hear more about that as the DM later.
Mm-hmm.
There's a home tree from Avatar.
Yes.
He stuck his penis in the home
I put
tree.
my little tail up to it, and it goes...
I slam my penis in the home tree.
You slam your penis. Oh,
The barbarian subclass that's bad is called Berserker. It is terrible. If you pick that, unlike Homebrewed, you are wrong.
yeah, no. I looked into that too because like
Stop listening to this episode if you do that.
I do not like you as a
don't do
person
it.
fundamentally if you use that.
You as a person are shitty.
Jesus.
I will say, so as far as like current motivations for
yes,
Eldrick,
good. Professional right here. Keep himself on track.
Yeah. So as far as motivations, a big motivator for him was really just, or big goal of his was just to keep the forest safe. So I think whenever all those pathways kind of got blocked off, he kind of got to relax for a little bit. But now that they're opened up and he's not really having to defend it, I think he's ready to kind of move into society a little bit.
So almost like a self-hermitage in a way.
Exactly, yeah.
Because at this point, at least my understanding based on the world building, like the forest is kind of like integrated into both the hive and like the redemption's like ecosystem. Like they're kind of both like guarding it and like not guarding it necessarily, but just like treating it properly and like doing proper like
I think it's like regulated now. Like they're not just going in and cutting down every tree.
Like you have to like tell, there's a guy who like sees how many like rabbits or whatever you're bringing in, like making sure, like there's like game wardens and stuff. I imagine.
No, yeah, for sure.
I would think even too, like you kind of have like a slight grudge to like those people outside of that. Like not so much that you're like on the shit that your tribe was on, but you're like, maybe they were. There's some credence to them being wary of these surface dwellers.
It's kind of up to you, I guess, as your character, but it's possible like maybe maybe his tribe like played a role in convincing the hive to seal them off way back when.
Potentially.
Like maybe it wasn't actually just the hive, even though we thought it was. Like maybe this tribe was also like, hey, seal the surface dwellers off.
Yeah.
All fun stuff for Kyle to play around with.
It could be. I will say so. Whenever he left, he had no contact with them. So I think my tribe is a little bit lower where it wouldn't really be like they wouldn't be so concerned about the forest. I don't think that they go there very often.
No, your tribe is kind of like what I was thinking of is like the equivalent of the Booglin for the lower levels. Like they kind of run the show in terms of like keeping things calm and whatever down there.
So they must be a really tough folk then, because they're dealing with like the actual proper carnivores.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of like without spoiling to anything. That's just like we're gonna play into a lot of that stuff because like they're not the only tribe now in those lower levels. Like we got Restuary. We also have the tribe of the like mole gecko rider people.
I will say one thing I'm really excited to find out is we kind of set up but never clarified like that the only reason like there's some super powerful relic that is basically like protecting Restuary, like even though it's deep like in this thing, like how the hell are they maintaining a giant museum in like arguably one of the most dangerous places on earth?
Literally.
Easily. Like what the hell did they find down
Think
there?
Fort Knox, but a museum. Like very much so like
I don't know why, but I could have sworn you were about to say Fortnite and I wasn't sure where you were going with it.
Oh god.
I will say this, for the most part, everybody around here is going to have chill vibes unless you bring bad vibes to them. You know, like the problems of the day are like, hey, solve this mission. I need you to go pick up 6 eggs from this thing or something. It's not going to be as silly as that, but like
you joke, but I am really excited and I really hope that we have an egg mission where we can just walk around.
So I thought about like doing an Easter, since we're talking about it, I thought about doing like an Easter egg 2-hour main game for Wanderful, where it's like a different kind of goose, like an underground goose, like a worm goose or a goose worm.
I will be so sad if we don't have, maybe it's just like a one-off that isn't canon, but I want to play that with Alande and the boys.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
yes.
I thought about
So
that too.
bad.
Spoon egg.
Yes.
I can't wait until
We
the
gotta
holidays for
play
Rum Tum Tum.
Oh, for real.
Can't wait.
Anyway, I'll
Yes.
go
Now, if you're done, Matt. Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah,
we
I'm
kind of
good.
got off on. Yeah, great. Got the names down. So we got Boognacious coming up.
Yes. So my character, hi, I'm Tyler.
Hello, Tyler.
My character's name is Boognacious. I am a Booglin, obviously. All Booglin have Boog in the name. However,
Or some variation of it.
I have, however, in the past, like, I'm kind of like early middle age. And I split off from the main groups of Booglin. I never really fit in. Reason being, I am, traditionally speaking, beautiful. But to Booglin, I am really weird looking. I got picked on. I got bullied a lot. So I just never really felt like I fit in. But I'm a ranger, and I am the hunter subclass, similar to Matt. I've never played a ranger before, so I was just kind of excited to do that. And I think that so whenever I split off from the other Booglin, I decided I wanted to make my own name separate from my Booglin people, so I go by Lil Crumb. You can also just call me Crumb if that's what you'd prefer.
Okay.
So if I remember correctly, the Booglin kind of come in all shapes and sizes. So are you a small Booglin?
I'm kind of an average sized Booglin. I'm not a big one. I'm not a super small one. I'm kind of right in the middle.
So why the little?
Oh, it's like a you know, like Lil Wayne isn't necessarily tiny, is he? He might be. I don't know.
I mean, Lil
I
Wayne is
think
a short
actually
man.
think he is kind of short.
He's a shorter
Yeah, I think
guy.
he is.
but
That was a
still,
bad
like,
example.
But I get what you mean. It's like
it's a
how
moniker.
my brother is a 30-year-old man, and my mom calls him Lil Ken. Like,
Yeah, exactly. How he got the name Lil Crumb, maybe we'll explore that later. Also, I don't know. But I think that as he separated himself from his kinfolk and other people around him, after feeling so ostracized, he started to build a lot of empathy and compassion for other people. So he started like he's primarily a hunter, but he spends a lot of his time hunting for other people who need food, you know, like whether or not he's taking jobs, he just like really likes helping other people. I don't think he's already a member of this guild, but I think should the mission call for something he feels compelled to help with, he's more than willing to step in. He's not the most social person, but he is. He likes to try to be a good guy. You know what I mean?
I like that. I like that.
That's
And
kind
what
of
are
his
some
whole biz.
You feel like you covered his motivation stuff, like what he's doing sort of now, like what's his goal now? Like what do you think
His goal
he's
right
like,
now is literally just to help other people be able to just live their lives. Like he is hunting for people, like to help supply people with food. He is, you know, helping to ward off threats to some people.
I like
He's
that.
very
I like
nomadic. He doesn't like have a home necessarily. Like in that little scene we played out in the last episode, he was in the Underwood. But that's just where he was. He doesn't like make his home in the Underwood. He's
but still,
ventured
I like
all
that.
around, and he kind of goes where he's needed, kind of.
I like that too, and that gives a good through line for you to introduce yourselves to each other with Matt, and then somehow find a way to be tied into. I like that. I like that a lot.
And he is
This
an
good.
extremely capable, like, navigator, and he understands. Obviously, all the Booglin really understand the terrain,
the lay of the land,
and all that. Like, he is extremely capable in those things: tracking, hunting, handling animals. Like, he is very, very much so like nature boy kind of. The main thing I want to finish on is I want you, Kyle, which I had tasked you. I hope that you did. but I want you to let us know what the name of your story is, the title of your story.
I think with redemption kind of being the thing, I kind of wanted to call it The Road to Redemption. Like, not even joking.
Redemption? I'm about it.
Yeah, because
I like that.
because it fits with some of the themes, and I could not escape this idea because like it's so in the bones of the world, and like redemption means a lot of things to other people, and so I kind of like The Road to Redemption Part 1, The Road to Redemption.
I like it,
you know, and like kind of have
like
maybe
that.
subtitles as they go if we need it, but like I feel like The Road to Redemption is definitely.
I love it.
Without even having to work, it lines up, I think, with at least two of our characters. Like, I think mine and Matt's both like.
And not even just you, there are
redemption.
characters y'all are going to meet that have like maybe opposite motivations that hopefully, if it's not just through punching, y'all can change their minds and get them on the right path or whatever, you know, things like that.
Yeah. So, listeners, you can expect in the next 2, maybe 3 weeks, maybe 4, who knows, depending on how much story Kyle comes up with and how much recording space that fills. You can expect the next 2+ weeks to be all The Road to Redemption. And this, the Summer of Wanderful.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
All the time.
Yeah. Also, I know y'all are out there listening everywhere. Send in some more items. Send in some more questions and feedback for these things, because I'd love to read some of you guys' questions on these like Tavern Talk episodes.
We definitely want questions. We definitely want lots of items. If you have things you want us to talk about, like we want
Topics,
all of
anything.
that, all that sort of stuff.
The museum has like a loaning system.
It could.
Like a tie into the Best Buy thing where we got the movies. Like, you can rent this out for one session.
It's like a library, but with magic items.
I love that so much.
You're giving me ideas, man. I don't see anything wrong with something like that. That's very fun.
I'd like to imagine that they all have a library stamp on them
Yes,
somewhere.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, like I said, we're like, this world is going to be built out as we play it too. So like, you got any questions, any items, any fun things you want to send in, please do.
Yeah. Also, since this is the beginning of the Summer of Wanderful, if there's something you want to see this summer, let us know and we can do that.
Because we've got one-offs that have nothing.
Yeah, if you want to hear us talk about something specific in a Tavern Talks, if you want someone specific to DM a story, maybe you really liked the Bewildered Benefactor, you really want another Jeremy story, you're getting one anyway, let's be real.
Exactly. maybe you want Matt to take the reins and you've got like a suggestion for like an actual built-in D&D one-shot that we could use that's like free or something, and Matt doesn't have to do any work. He could just read the pages.
Maybe if you have a story that's kind of been on the side of our normal story that you want us to do a spin-off or something, maybe you want to hear, like, this is not spoiling anything or like teasing anything, but maybe you like really want Sunshine's backstory, like something like, you know what I mean? That. Like if you have something that you really want to hear, like we're doing this podcast for us, but also for you guys, you know?
A lone wolf and cub style story with Sunshine and like a little emperor boy that he has to protect. Oh my God.
I love that.
The people need it.
Not to weigh anyone's opinions, but I've got like a maze and a murder mystery just loaded, ready to go.
I've got a anime style tournament that I've also been working on the side. So we're going to make level 20 characters that are basically gods and just go ham.
We've got a lot of content coming your way this summer. And then we've already got a lot more content coming through the fall and through the winter. We're just ramping up, you guys. We've been recording for almost a full year at this point. I know the show's only been out for 6 months, but you know, spoiler, we recorded our first episode like a year ago at this point.
But like, even still, like, it's such a fun thing to do just as friends. Like, it's an excuse to like get together, but also like seeing you guys watch the shit and actually give a fuck about what we're doing. It, like, even if you aren't saying much, it's like, it's very motivational. We're making something for someone out there. Someone's giggling alone at their desk at work. Someone's on their drive to work.
I have a few friends
laughing.
who say they listen regularly.
What I really like is that, you know, we never ramble and like have episodes like kind of drag out and like kind of just
never
let it die.
We
like,
never
we're really
go-
good at like hard cutting, like
Very concise
really,
thoughts.
Yeah.
No.
We don't talk over each other even a little bit.
No, we're
Never.
absolutely
We're not
experts
trying to get a
at
word in
leaving